Welcome to Southern Guitar Works, and today at OGW we're going to be looking at the Godin Guitars SDXT. The Godin Guitars is a Canadian-based electric, acoustic and bass guitar company. Godin guitars are all made from trees sourced from Quebec, Canada, and then assembled in their Quebec and New Hampshire factories. I started really noticing Godin guitars when searching Telecasters and Stratocasters and seeing these compared a lot on forums and generally in shop discussions. And one of the first things I noticed was they were quite expensive, so very much out of my price range in the early days. I happened to get given one as a gift by my wife because I think I talk about so many guitars so much that she can remember most of the names and models that I talk about. And for a particular period of time, I really spoke a lot about the Godin SDXT after seeing an advert on Gumtree, and it really just took my fancy, and I sort of fell in love with the idea of getting one and really wanted to play one for a while. The guitar itself is a second-hand Godin SDXT. It was in fantastic condition when I got it, and that is the specific model we'll be taking a look at today. Now, the model I have features a rock maple neck with a maple fingerboard, has a 12-inch fingerboard radius, a 25.5-inch scale, a 1/11/16 nut width, is a contoured silverleaf maple body, features a highly figured veneer to the top. There's Godin design pickups, the GHB1 bridge, the GHS1 middle, and the GHN1 neck. It features a floating trem, a 5-way volume and tone control. The only difference within my model was that when I got it, it featured a black Wilkinson pickup in the bridge. From my research, I found this is a high output pickup. In my opinion, it's a beautiful looking guitar. I love the finish on the top. You'll see in the pictures that it is a very clear, sort of a light burst, but with that really nice kind of quilted top. I've always been a big fan of maple telly necks, and this has a very similar feel to it. Very comfortable neck, very fast neck, and the trem system is very stable. I've never had a problem with anything with regards to changing tunings or changing strings. Now, it's not a very easy guitar to find secondhand online. I found one in a specific shop that sold at $249. And if you do go to look at places like Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree or Reverb, you can find listings from anywhere from £170 before shipping to £385 before shipping. So it's a bit of a gamble as to what you're going to actually find online. And I did find a lot of these were listed in America, so obviously the shipping costs on top would be quite high. Now, at the time of recording this, I found something very strange. I searched the Godin SDXT on eBay and actually found no listings. And this was worldwide, not just the UK. Now, it's hard to say whether that's because it's quite a sought-after guitar and it's hard to nail one down, or whether they're just not that popular, so people aren't really even selling them. It may be that people just love them and won't sell them. I personally wouldn't sell mine, even if someone offered me above what the highest one listed on Reverb is worth. I think it's best we talk about the competitors to the SDXT. I would say maybe you're looking at Telecasters and Strats, probably the main things that are going to be your competitors. I would also say this sort of holds up against things like high-end Yamaha Pacificas and other high-end independent brands like Chapman Guitars. Now we're going to head over and do our sound demo with the Godin SDXT. So we have the Godin SDXT. I personally have had this guitar now for probably 3 years, maybe 4 years. I play with it a lot at home. I've never really used it for any bands or any projects. It's a really fun guitar to just play around with at home. It's got a very Telecaster kind of feel to the neck, as we spoke about in the specs. It has a rock maple neck, so it's quite snappy, quite fast, and very bright when you're just playing it, quite resonant. I don't have many guitars with maple fingerboards, so it was really nice to get one for a little different view. It's pretty standard stuff with the fret inlays. It's a very standard thing for a lot of Godins. The pickup configuration is a bit different from the stock model, as it has the Wilkinson in the bridge there, which is the high output Wilkinson. The selector positions are your standard 5 selector positions. There's quite a notice between them. When you change them, you do get a really nice broad range. One of the personal things I did was I dropped the middle pickup a little bit, actually, for a little subtlety in that range. When I do play clean stuff, if I have used this, I have used that middle pickup sometimes for a little blending, which is really nice. 2 controls, the volume and the tone. Quite a noticeable difference. When you do roll off the tone, you get a lot more bass response and frequency, so it's really nice. Plays lovely. The tremolo system is very stable. I have the trem arm upstairs. I tend to not use it a lot. I think it actually might even be in the gig bag. Don't tend to use it a lot. I had no problems with the saddles, the nut, everything on it was very solid when I got it. Has the little string rollers on the head. They're really handy. They seem to help with intonation and with the comfort of the higher strings. And yeah, generally I'm happy with this guitar. So we'll go into doing a few little sound demos with it. We'll try some clean. We'll mess around with the selector switch and the tone and volume. And we'll go into a distortion channel then and have a play around with that too. So now we're going to have a play around with the clean channel. But before, something I didn't mention in the last section is this guitar is quite heavy. Has more of a Les Paul feel to it than it does a Tele. I would say it's heavier than most Teles I've played and most Strats I've played. I have an old 90s Squire Strat that's a Korean made one, and it's really, I mean, it feels like light as a feather compared to this. So yeah, it's a noticeable weight in the body. I personally like that. I don't mind a heavy guitar. I play bass a lot and my bass is quite heavy, so I don't mind a bit of heaviness in it. And also something I didn't mention, but the neck is very, very nice. It does have a bit of a finish on it, a bit of lacquer on the finish at the back of the neck, which some people are not fans of, but I personally don't mind that. I like it. It's a very clean finish. The joint is really nice. You've got a lot of access to the higher frets there from the joint. So yeah, I never had any problems with the neck. Real comfortable. Quite a small neck compared to what I'm used to playing, which is bass and a lot of 7 strings and even an 8 string that I own. So for me to get onto a 6 string neck, I do like a little bit of meat to it, and this is not the most meaty, but it's still testament to how good this guitar is that it is comfortable still. So here we have it through the clean channel of my Marshall, and that is with the selector in the bridge position, tone all the way up, volume all the way up. Simple sound to start off with there, nothing too dramatic and too unusual. So now we'll have a play around with the selector switch. I'll just play a few open notes, just kind of in a chord to just get a feel for the sound and how it resonates. Second position in the selector, third position, which is middle. This is blending the neck and the middle. It's a very warm tone from the neck. There's quite a dramatic volume difference there because I have dropped the middle pickup a bit lower. I may even put that back up because what I was using it for before I'm not doing anymore, so I might just put that back up for a little bit of an idea of how that mid pickup blends a bit more. So let's try mess around with the tone switch now, see how that sounds. There's a lot more bass in that, a lot more bass response in that, but tone with the tone knob turned all the way down. Right, so now we're going to check out the distortion channel, and we'll do the same sort of test we did before with the selectors and with the tone. Nice, the Wilkinson pickup handles the distortion really well. It's not too muddy, it's nice and clean. So now we'll have a play around with the selector switch into the second position. Bit of a roll off of the distortion itself and more of the bass. of a telly twang in the middle position there. A lot more noise from the amp as well. That's in the fourth position there. That's one neck pickup. And now this is the full neck pickup. Again, a lot more throaty, a lot more bass in that tone there. And now we'll go back to the selector and we will roll off the tone switch. So we're fully on. Now we'll roll the tone all the way off. I personally wouldn't have much of a use for a sound like that. Not more of my projects I use a bit more sort of for note clarity and the definition of each individual ring and note, especially if I'm playing kind of those kind of chords. So, I mean, overall handles the distortion really well. It doesn't sound out of place. It doesn't seem completely out of its comfort zone at all. On the whole, I find this to be an extremely comfortable guitar. Some people may struggle a bit with the weight. Some people are just not fans of the weight. It's definitely not light compared to some guitars I've played. My Switch Vibracell that I was playing in one of my last videos, our last gear overview of the guitar, it's like a feather compared to this. And you know, I have a Les Paul which is probably about the same weight, to be honest with you, and that's no slouch. That's a heavy guitar. Like I said, in sort of a summary of the guitar, it's a pretty nice finish. I mean, I really personally, a bit closer to have a look at the flame and that, the maple sort of look to it. It's a really nice guitar. It's like a quilted effect, and you know, I quite like the off-white pickups and the off-white pick guard with the chrome knobs on it. It's different. The brush sort of chrome style effect, machine heads. It's a little different to what you're used to seeing out there. It's different to use typical Yamaha Pacificas. It's different to a lot of the tellies that have been released, you know, sort of in the last 4 or 5 years. This is an older guitar, and I actually think that it's matured and it's kind of settled in and sounds like a used, like, second-hand guitar or third-hand possibly. I like this guitar. I'm comfortable with it because I've been playing it for a while, but I think if any guitarist picked this up, they would feel really comfortable playing it. There's not much about this guitar I can say that's different or modern or new. It's very classic in the sense it's like a classic guitar, like very much like a Telly or a Strat, like we've said. And generally, I think this is a very good workhorse of a guitar. I think you could turn this to a lot of things. I have recorded and played some demo stuff for one of my bands, my hardcore band. I've recorded some stuff with this, and it stood up as much playing that stuff against my 7-string, my RG7321, which is pretty much a metal machine, which has a Seymour Duncan Invader in the bridge. So it's made for high gain, heavy, chuggy sort of riffs, and I played this against it, and it stood up just fine. Some minor tweaks with the pickups, obviously, and it sounded absolutely fine. It worked perfectly. I've played this alongside my Les Paul and had no problems with it. So I'd recommend, if you come across one of these, you're not probably going to get an SDXT in many shops. You'll see one online possibly, or you might be lucky enough to stumble across one second hand in a pawn shop or Cash Converters or in one of your local guitar shops. I would seriously check this out. Depending on price and what you're after, this is definitely worth a look. I will espouse the virtues of Godin Guitars till my dying days, because they are fantastic guitars, and every single one I've ever laid my hands on I've really enjoyed. And lucky for me, I got one, and I'm very happy to have one. So yeah, please check them out and check out Godin stuff. If you can afford to look at some of the higher end stuff, I'm sure that stuff's amazing. I haven't had the pleasure of getting my hands on one of them yet, but hopefully in the future I will. So yeah, I'm very happy with this guitar, and I can't recommend it enough for people. So in closing, I think we've kind of seen a bit of the versatility of this guitar. I've spoken about the comfort, and obviously watch out for the weight issue if you're not into really weighty guitars. But generally, I would recommend this guitar to most people, as I've already said. And yeah, let us know in the comments if you've come across one of these SDXTs, or if you have Godin, or if you're a Godin fan like I am. Please, I'd love to hear stories about them. I'd love to see some of your guitars. Please share this video, let people know what we think about Godin Guitars as well here at OGW. So that's going to be enough for us today. Please like, subscribe and share the video, and take it easy and take care.